Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty to gun charges today in federal court. The president's son faces 3 felony counts, accused of lying about his drug use in 2018 on a federal form when buying a gun. The arraignment comes months after a previous plea deal in case fell apart in that same courthouse. Investigative reporter Olivia Rubin is there, and she joins me now along with legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. Olivia, prosecutors were ready to throw these charges out if Hunter Biden had pleaded guilty to some misdemeanor tax charges. So how did we go from that to him now pleading guilty, or pleading not guilty, rather, to 3 felony gun charges?
Well, the kind of explosion of this plea agreement that Hunter and prosecutors had come to really happened here at this same courthouse, Diane, as you said earlier in the summer, when the judge overseeing that part of the case sort of picked through every single aspect methodically in a multiple, hour hearing. And essentially what it came down to, Diane, was it really wasn't clear and really didn't make much sense how the, guilty plea deal to the tax charges was intertwined and connected to the diversion agreement on the gun charge. Were they different things? Were they part of the same package deal? Did one hinge on the other? What do you do if, Hunter violates the terms? So all of these questions posed during a hearing, and really what came to light, Diane, was that Hunter's team and prosecutors didn't have the same view on what the deal was at all, and the result was no deal. So ultimately what came back out of this was new charges brought on these gun charges. But like we have talked about all day, Diane, Hunter's team is still very much of the mind that the earlier gun diversion agreement still is in play. So, the chaos, the, kind of run and gun deal making of the earlier hearing is still a little bit in play here, and that both of these sides aren't totally in agreement on what that deal was and if it remains in effect here, which, I think could have the potential to pose some more issues moving forward, as Hunter's team has said that they will move to dismiss these new charges based on that underlying agreement. So the repercussions of that failed plea deal still very much, reverberating here today.
Brian, Hunter Biden's accused of lying on a federal form here. How serious are these charges?
In a vacuum, they're very serious, but beyond that, even more so. I say in a vacuum because just that one count, the first count of this indictment, that's up to 10 years in prison for lying on a document saying that you are not addicted to any kind of controlled substance while purchasing a firearm. But the other 2 charges of actually obtaining and possessing the firearm, he could see up to 25 years in prison. Now, will he ever get that amount? Very, very unlikely. Probably goes somewhere down the line of a plea deal. But to Olivia's point, I think some of the difficulty in a plea deal is you have to factually plead guilty to something you did, basically. So where are the tax issues when we're talking about lying on a federal document and possessing a gun? I think the issue here is the collateral consequences to having a gun charge or lying on a federal document could lead to potential jail time or worse. And that's why they're trying to navigate some sort of plea deal.
Now, Olivia, House Republicans also just launched an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. How does this case play into that probe?
Well, I think, Diane, that this investigation here, though today we are here for gun charges, the prosecutors have signaled that they have every intention, essentially, that they are investigating well beyond just gun charges. They have hinted that it could involve, allegations surrounding Hunter's potential foreign business dealings, which has long been that very focus of the Republicans up on Capitol Hill. So I think for many people, this investigation and what now Special Counsel David Weiss does could sort of be the defining moment and put an end or give an answer to the many rumors and allegations that have long been swirling about Hunter and his business dealings overseas. Because remember, Diane, now that David Weiss is a special counsel investigating Hunter Biden, what he is going to have to do is deliver a report detailing his findings, why he brought charges, why he didn't bring charges, what he found. Think back to the Robert Mueller days when he investigated then President Donald Trump. And now the Attorney General Merrick Garland has pledged to make public as much of that report as he possibly can. So what this investigation could produce is really the final answers on really, is there something here or is there not? So I think that plays into, what Republicans are looking for on Capitol Hill when they say they are launching this impeachment inquiry and looking for evidence. Well, David Weiss could find the evidence or ultimately say there is no evidence.
Now, we do have a new statement now from Hunter Biden's attorney. He's saying these charges are the result of a political pressure from President Trump and his MAGA allies to force the Justice Department to ignore the law and deviate from its policies in cases like this one. He goes on to mention various court rulings undermining the constitutionality of the law at issue here. Brian, you mentioned that you suspect his attorneys are going to be watching the Supreme Court very closely. It sounds like we're getting an intimation of that right here.
Exactly. The whole concept of who can have and who cannot have a gun based on this ruling from Clarence Thomas in this case called Bruin. I think what they're making the argument is the same thing that Donald Trump and other political figures make. They're saying this isn't about the law, this is about politics, that there are rulings and decisions that are being made, that this case would have been resolved if this wasn't Hunter Biden, if this wasn't Joe Biden's son. I understand it. It's again another attack in the court of public opinion, but it does have a tinge of some legal elements to it as well. The interesting part that's going to happen here is whatever resolution we have here, what happens on appeal? What does a higher court say this judge either did correctly or did incorrectly?
All right, Olivia Rubin, Brian Buckmeyer. We'll keep watching this one closely. Thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.